This bottle of hot sauce is more than just a condiment. It is a passport. It carries Western African love of bold spices, American chilies, the ingenuity of enslaved cooks, and the pride of soul food. So join us today while we discuss why Black people love hot sauce. I'm your host, Country Boy, and this is One Mic Black History. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. Long before Columbus, Western African cuisine was already bold. Markets sold cloves of cumin, ginger, garlic, and peppery seeds called the grains of paradise that gave stew a warm, peppery ginger spark. Historians like Jessica B. Hayes and Michael Twitty both describe this long tradition of layered seasoning with smoked fish, fermented condiments, aromatic leaves, and peppery spice paste that made humble ingredients sing. Then came the Columbian Exchange, and chilies are a native to the Americas, but not so much Africa. But in the 1500s, Portuguese traders carried capsaicin across the Atlantic, and African cooks immediately embraced it. Why so quick? Because the climate loved the plant, and the people already had a love of that flavor. And red pepper spices joined rice and greens with fish like it had always been there. During the transatlantic slave trade bound many for the Caribbean, where enslaved Africans met New World chilies and added them to jerk and pepper sauces and pepper pot stews, and those flavors and the expectation that that food should have bite traveled with them. On southern plantations, rations were monotonous. Cornmeal, pork, molasses, maybe some saltfish, whatever the garden or they could forage could add. The cuts allotted to enslaved people were often less than noble. Parts like feet, ears, head, chitlins. Faced with that, Black cooks did what they could to transform, clean, smoke, simmer, and season. And chilies became integral to that strategy. Adrian describes how Black families tended to small gardens behind their quarters, growing peppers and preserved food in the southern heat to mask spoilage and, crucially, make meals tasty. By the early 1700s, one preparation showed up again and again in household notes and cookbooks: peppers steeped in vinegar and salt to make chili vinegar or pepper vinegar. You pack a jar of pods, poured vinegar, and kept a top on it. It lived in the table in a way that soy sauce sits in a sushi bar or fish sauce sits in a bowl of noodles. It was a portable way to wake up greens, peas, rice, and fish. Open early American cookbooks and you'll see the pepper trail. Mary Randolph's Virginia Housewife in 1824 calls for cayenne over fish with sauces. Malinda Russell in 1866 and Abby Fisher in 1881, two of the earliest Black cookbooks ever published, used cayenne pepper and pepper sauces very liberally in most of their dishes. In short, enslaved and freed Black cooks didn't just season their own plates, they were training the Southern palate. Pepper vinegar is a cousin to barbecue. In the Carolinas, Pitmasters mopped a whole hog in thin vinegar with red pepper sauces. Simple, shelf-stable, and devastatingly effective at cooking fat. That tangy heat became a regional signature because it worked, especially on cheaper, fattier cuts that Black pitmasters often were forced to use. Heat also doubled as medicine. Folks acknowledged capsaicin's ability to clear sinuses, stimulate circulation, and relieve soreness when used topically. In communities with little access to doctors, a peppery broth or a rub of hot pepper oil was practical medical care. In Louisiana, cooks mashed ripe red peppers with salt, aged in barrels before blending them with vinegar. After the Civil War, white entrepreneur Edmund McGillivray bottled a version on Avery's Island in 1868 and called it Tabasco. Hot sauce didn't start there, but Black and Creole cooks had long been preserving peppers. But mass bottling turned Southern Black flavor into a national commerce. With the success of Tabasco and later Louisiana-style brands like Crystal or original Louisiana hot sauce, Red Rooster, yet ownership rarely lived with the people who built that flavor. Labels often sold the fantasy of cowboys and bayous, while the real story included enslaved labor in black kitchens. Appropriation didn't erase that origin, it just erased credit. During the Great Migration, millions of African Americans carried that southern taste north and out west, and hot sauce became a portable bit of home. A bottle wrapped in a newspaper in a trunk, a little bit in a jar on a lunch pail, a travel size tucked inside a purse. Segregation made it practical that if a traveler was denied service or was stuck with a bit of bland flair, a splash of hot sauce could save a meal. Black folks prepared shoebox lunches, complete with salt, pepper, and hot sauce because their own safety relied on their own self-reliance. The flavor-shaped cities in Harlem on Central Avenue, countermen slid bottles across tables with fish and grits, diners and juke joints and church basements all kept the same table setup of a napkin, sugar, salt, pepper, and a little bit of heat. By the 1960s, the phrase soul food gave a name to the cuisine Black communities had been preserving under pressure. On soul food tables, 2 bottles were standard: a clear pepper vinegar for greens and peas, and red Louisiana-style hot sauce for fish, chicken, and eggs. That ritual said as much as the flavor did, and continued this tradition of adding a little bit of bite to their food. The culture continues to keep this signal alive. In 2016, Beyonce sang about having hot sauce in her bag, which is a tip of the hat to all the Black women who travel with a bottle of hot sauce to add a little bit of taste to an otherwise bland food. Today, Black-owned brands are attempting to reclaim shelf space with regional styles of Low Country and the Caribbean, but the gap remains, and the industry still undercredits the Black cooks who taught America to crave a little bit of heat. So in the end, why do Black folks love hot sauce? Because Africa taught us to love a little bite to our food, and because the Americas gave us chilies and we made them sing. Because a splash of vinegar pepper can turn scraps into supper and supper into a celebration. Thank you. I'm your country boy. This is why Black folks love hot sauce. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. I'd like to thank all my financial contributors. Without you, none of this could be possible. I love you all. Peace.